This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions, coming to you with a great article I found from Sovereign Man. And this is about pensions again. I thought this deal was absurd, but pensions are piling in. Don't visit Sovereign Man enough, but they got some really good articles. And I encourage you to take a look at this one. I'm going to dive right in. Of course, I'm going to put a link inside the description. We've been talking about the pensions crisis for years now. It's without a doubt one of the biggest financial disasters. These pools of capital responsible for paying our retirement benefits are terribly underfunded. So anyone depending on a pension in their retirement years should really consider a plan B, and sooner rather than later. We aren't alone in sounding the alarm on pensions. The World Economic Forum reported in 2015, worldwide pensions were underfunded by $70 trillion. That is larger than the top 20 economies in the world combined. In the U.S. alone, federal and state local government pensions are $7 trillion short on the funding they need to pay what they have promised. And none of this includes Social Security. Social Security is almost $50 trillion of underfunded obligations. Even the private sector isn't in great shape. U.S. corporate pensions are a combined $553 billion in the hole, and 1/4 of these funds are expected to go broke within a decade. Most pensions require about an 8% annual return to break even and make all the payments they promise. Historically, these funds could achieve decent returns with a mix of conservative, fixed income incentives, but after a decade of ultra low interest rates, he means here where you punish to save, achieving an 8% return in bonds would be a dream. So these pensions are forced to take on more and more just to break even, and deal with corporate government officials. They're essentially taking the teachers and firemen's retirement money and betting it on black, hoping to dig themselves out of the enormous hole they're in. That means buying more stocks at what may be the top of the market, as we're seeing if you've been paying attention to the Dow in the last couple of days. The last couple of months has been really volatile, but over the last days it's been down. One day almost 700 points, the other day 500, and it just continues to spiral. I don't know if we're at that point where we're really seeing it, but the recession has already been in for a little while. It just takes a while for it to be reported. And remember, pension funds are supposed to be some of the conservative investors on the planet. Millions of people rely on them to make prudent investments to provide them with a decent income retirement, not to make large, risky bets hoping for outsized returns. And this is a very good point. I go so much on the pensions because, again, these are your family members, and such a large population is depending on them. And the truth is, a lot of people coming after them who are getting closer to their age are dependent on them as well. They still believe that, just someone's going to take care of them. And that's why it makes it such a relevant and important discussion you need to have in your household. You have to keep reminding them, even though it seems impossible, that people don't think things can happen here. Pensions have nearly doubled their allocation to real estate since 2006. And this is when it gets really interesting in the article. Investing an extra $120 billion into the sector. But a certain type of real estate investment called opportunistic investments have grown sixfold over the same period. What is that? Opportunity investments is just a fancy term for being a real estate developer. In other words, pension funds are basically building spec properties now. Oh my God. At least with the normal real estate investments, the funds can buy an asset and earn a reliable income stream. But now they're buying speculative land, developing, often taking on debt to do so, and hoping to flip it to someone at a higher price somewhere down the line. Is this right? Think about how, because there's no yield, and you have to do something to generate income because it's just what the Federal Reserve's policy is, making it impossible for you to save and do something of conservative value and do something that would generally not be risky. They have to go through such extremes. Essentially now it looks like pension funds are becoming flipping the properties. This is wrong for so many reasons. Damn right. Remember that the outrageous real estate deal I was offered back in July? I don't know what he's talking about here, but just read on. A big bank was raising $500 million to buy a building in Midtown Manhattan. Then they wanted to spend another $1,000 per square foot on renovations. I immediately passed. Why would I buy a building in one of the most expensive cities in the world at a market high? Then to spend a fortune and several years renovating the property, then pray we don't have a market downturn so I can sell the property to a higher bidder. Well, now we know who likely took the $500 million allocation: pension funds. Costa is one of the largest pension funds in the U.S. has allocated $5.7 billion to an opportunistic real estate. And they think they're going to make 13% to 30% on these investments compared to 6 to 9% with traditional real estate. What can possibly go wrong here? So if you're in areas you didn't even know that pensions are actually increasing the property values as well into your area, causing more of the bubble as well. Something I found out just by reading this article. Now, you know about it if you're paying attention to this. And this is fascinating because I can't even imagine a pension fund be actually involved with trying to flip properties. 10 years into a raging bull market, pension funds aren't just buying expensive real estate, they're buying expensive real estate and taking on debt to develop it. Not only are they buying expensive real estate, it's worth repeating this again. They're buying expensive real estate and taking on debt to develop it. And they're hoping that years from now, when the property is finished, that the market will still be in a position to buy what they have built at a higher price. Everything needs to go right for pensions to make money on those investments, but I see a lot more that can go wrong. I was able to pass on this deal, but the millions of Americans depending on pension for retirement don't have that luxury. They're at the mercy of the pension managers to make decisions for them. And they are not making sound decisions today. And to continue learning how to, all right, then he goes into his, what happens in the next in where I'll encourage you to download our free Perfect Plan B guide. Folks, we in a different kind of time. As things just continue to unfold in the information age, you got to get prepared. And the pensions, you got to let your family know about it. You need to be mentally prepared. You need to look at different options, generating different income, holding some just different sources. And just one of the main things is just being mentally prepared for a shift of epic proportions. Now, I don't seem, again, as human beings, we tend to look at things at the last minute, but we don't have that time anymore. So until my next video, if this video has been of value, please subscribe, leave some comments. And until my next video, I'm out.